The game started, ladies and gentlemen. At the right side of the map, we have in the red color the Protoss player for NSHoSeo. It is none other than
NSHoSeo Sage.
It is Sage, that's right. And his opponent is going to be once again the Terran player in the blue at the left side of Metropolis. We have
StarTale Bomber.
Yeah, Bomber did quite well so far.
Yes, indeed. By the way, thanks for letting me know on Twitter, you guys. It was actually TLO that was stealing add-ons at MLG. One MLG event. He was going around stealing people's reactors and tech labs and TVT.
Yeah, a couple of people tweeted me on Twitter as well, telling me about it, and they actually said like, "How can you not know it? You're German as well."
That's right. You're German, so therefore we watch every game that TLO plays, right?
I stopped watching TLO's games when he switched to Terran. I'm like, what? No. No love anymore.
All right, we have Barracks going down on a gas follow-up for
He's playing
Bomber.
Zerg again, so I'm allowed to watch his game.
Okay, okay. I never keep track of these guys switching races around. Who is it that someone switched recently also? Oh, Last Shadow, he switched to Terran. I was like, what, really? Why?
He was Terran before, so there are a lot of people that just switch between two races. I actually love Moro style, where he just continues to play Terran against the Zerg because he hates CDZ so much.
Oh my goodness! The invading probe, I thought he was going to do something and repair that SCV or something. No, Sage's probe gets an SCV kill and is like, my work here is done. I'm going to clap my hands and go back home, report back to the who's in charge of the Protoss? What is the Protoss ranking official called? I forgot.
Tacita?
Yeah,
one of them.
What's the
Ire?
No, Ire's the city, but or the planet, but what's the like the rank? Executor. It's gonna report back to the Executor.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what it is. Sorry about that.
We have a Nexus first, by the way, just to mention it. Nexus first for
very
our NSHoSeo player. It's Metropolis, it's a very, very big map, has been scouted by Bomber. Bomber is now going for his tech, throwing down the factory. We have double gate being built for our StarTale player, and the Cybernetics core is on its way as well. The first Marauder is being built right now, and the concussive shell right away, so StarTale Bomber seems to be like he wants to be a little bit more aggressive about it. No attempts at all to actually build some kind of expansion himself, and he's repositioning his factory, so he will have a shorter distance between the factory and the main base and expansion of his opponent. So
interesting. And yes, our NSHoSeo player Sage does see this. This is going to be really interesting. Yeah, he's just going to go with Hellions. He's bringing 5 SCVs as well, a Marauder with concussive shells, and a couple Marines. This is going to basically be designed to punish Sage for this quick expansion, try and catch him before he has any units.
He's pulling SCVs as well, and we have chrono boosts onto the 2 gateways, but will it be enough? That's the main question right now. We have a very risky opening for Sage, and Bomber is trying to punish him. He is going to send all his units over, and NSHoSeo Sage, he might lose this expansion. SCVs are being pulled, and here comes StarTale Bomber.
He's just going to have to pull probes, I think, but the Hellion, well no, the Hellion goes down, so he cannot kill probes en masse here. And the concussive shell is doing a lot of help to keep these Zealots away. He does pick off one of the Zealots, the other Zealot as well. It's just down to these Stalkers left, but he's just hammering them as much as possible. Another Hellion starts roasting the probes. A lot of probes going down in this exchange. Actually, not a ton of probes.
Very
4
well
probes
done.
going down, but 7.
Very well done by Sage.
Yeah, the 6 SCVs that Bomber sent in died, but he only lost 4 probes, so Sage actually just held that off and now is in a very, very big lead.
I have to give it to Sage. That was just so well done. He was able to scout his opponent's factory with one of his probes, immediately started chrono boosting his 2 gateways like crazy, and this hold was very well executed. He focused down the Marauders with all those Stalkers that he had. He had 2 Zealots in order to put a little bit of pressure onto the Marines as well and pull enough probes to deal with the attack of StarTale Bomber. Very well done by Sage. That was just beautiful.
Yeah, very nicely done indeed. Hellion tries to go in there and kill some more probes. Does not get more than 1. And so yeah, Bomber is now trying to recover by getting a command center of his own, but he's going to be pretty behind. He's already behind in basically everything. Supply, army, economy.
To give you a quick idea of the harvest account right now, we have 30 probes to 22 SCVs. Of course, there's the mule as well for Bomber, but still, the early expansion for NSHoSeo Sage, it is safe and secured, while now Bomber is just trying to get an expansion on his own, and it will take a while until he can use the second mule, until he can build enough SCVs to get even with his opposing Protoss player in regards to his harvest account. Very well done by Sage. And he's just now going for a gateway heavy play. He has the robotics, and Double Forge is already in production.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, Sage actually, this is the second time in a row actually that he's gotten himself supply blocked, and so he hasn't actually been building probes constantly out of his nexuses. So Bomber is slowly going to be able to catch up if he keeps up with his mechanics a little bit better. Observer for Sage roaming into the main of Bomber, finding out what he's up to.
He knows exactly what he's doing now, and the thing is, Sage will be so far ahead in upgrades. He is already on Double Forge. He's starting one at a time, where StarTale Bomber doesn't even have an engineering bay. So this is going to work very well. We don't have... Do we actually... Can you just jump into the main base and check if we have Warp Gate?
Okay, now just is upgrading those into warp gates, yeah.
Yeah, I just saw those gateways, and for a second I was really worried that he forgot to research warp gate. Now we have the transition. He was just a little bit late with it. And he's going for a bunch of Immortals, so we don't see him building anything like a robotic space so far. He's just scattering his Stalkers across his main base in order to see when the drop is actually arriving, and there it is. Oh, not defending in time. That will cost him a few Stalkers.
Wow, and yeah, those Stalkers are going to down very quickly to these Marauders. He's going to start taking out probes as well. Beautiful drop by Bomber. This is exactly what he needs to get back into the game. With that Immortal showing up, though, he's going to have to retreat, and he retreats towards the probes, killing off yet more probes.
And Stalkers as well.
Nice. Yeah, the medevac was too low. He knew if he loaded up to try and escape, it would die with the Marauders inside. So he just does what damage he can. Oh, is that Marauder going to get out?
No, I don't think so. The Stalkers should be able to chase it down as soon as Stim wears off, and that's the case. So, yeah, there we go.
Cursed Blood.
We're still able to get to kill a couple of units. 14 SCVs, probes in total have been killed, and now we have 37 to 40 Harvesters. Here comes the attack by Sage now. He has enough Immortals, +1/+1 is about to hit.
Oh, this is actually a really dangerous attack for Sage. Pushing in here, Bomber trying to engage before Sage is set up. Picks off a Stalker and retreats. Very nicely done.
73 against 75 supply in favor of Bomber. Sage needs to do damage with this attack. He needs to do some damage. He is not as far ahead anymore thanks to the drop of Bomber. They are actually even, and Sage now trying to take down the...
Nice.
How can he not target fire the Marauders with the Immortals?
Well, he focused down the Immortals very quickly. Very nicely done by Bomber. The ground army is still very dangerous, though. Another Immortal does come into the mix. It was nice. Bomber, actually, he kept about 8 Marines up in his main base to kind of bait him in a little bit. And then right when the battle was about to start, he stimmed those Marines down the ramp to try and pick off the Immortals. Smartly done. We did see Sage actually force field the ramp to try and stop that, but not in time.
The problem is that Sage, as well as he executed the defense earlier against the rush of Bomber, he played really poorly in the last encounter. He didn't kill a single Marauder with his Immortals. He didn't focus fire them at all. Instead, he focused onto the Marines, which is kind of the worst thing that he can do if you are trying to execute such an attack. So he could have dealt so much more damage to StarTale Bomber, but now Bomber is ahead with 81 to 73 supply. He's getting his +2 attack upgrade and +1 armor and double Ghost Academy.
Double Ghost Academy. Interesting. Huh. I wonder if he's...
same time, by the way.
Well, I don't... Yeah, he made them both at almost the same time, so I don't think it's a mistake. Either he really wants to get maybe Mobius Reactor and Cloak at the same time or something like that. And we have a pause request from Sage.
We have 2 additional bases, by the way. 1 for Bomber and 1 for Sage. So both of them are trying to get now another base, a 3rd one. But, well, I really don't know about Sage's play. That defense that he pulled off in the early stage of the game against the Rush, that was just so well executed. I was really baffled by how well he done. And Bomber, he was crippled after it. He had the expansion a lot later than his opponent. He was down when it came down to the Harvester supply. And apparently Sage wanted to go for a strategy where he was just attacking when 1-1 hit with Immortals and Gateway units. Yeah. But he was thrown off by the drop of Bomber. And at the same time, the push that he made, it was executed so poorly. His micro was really so bad in this push. I don't know what happened. He must have been preoccupied at another position at the time, but I just can't see why else he would not have focused on those Marauders with Immortals.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, he may have just panicked in the moment there, worried that his Immortals were going to get taken out very quickly, and I don't know. You're right. He just basically didn't... He put down a bunch of force fields, and then maybe he went back to macro and didn't micro it at that point. It might have been what happened. But anyway, it turns out that Sage actually arranged his hotkeys incorrectly. So he actually is going to get a warning, since that's what you're supposed to do before the game starts. But he's going to fix his hotkeys, and we're going to get back into the game here in a moment.
That could have been one of the problems. That could have actually been a problem. I mean, I don't know what exactly is wrong with his hotkeys, but that would explain why in the fight suddenly everything seemed to go to hell. So, might have been the cause of the
I'm not sure what
situation that we saw, but, well...
I don't know what hotkey would have... I mean, Immortals don't cast a spell that he would have to hotkey.
Maybe with the Force Fields, Guardian Shield, something with the sentries, then he was confused what was happening, and might have been an explanation. I'm sure that later on we might have an interview with him. Well, we might. I'm not sure of it, but we might have an interview. So at some point we probably get a statement what happened. But that fight just looked a little bit fishy. That was not the Sage that we saw in the earlier stages of the game.
Okay.
Just chatting away. Looks like they are going to be ready.
Fortunately, I don't understand enough of that to know what is going on in the chat here. But it looks like we are going to get back into the game here in just a second. So we're going to find out if Sage can take back the lead he had.
I can read the ne, so the yes.
Well,
and
I knew
yes
that
is always a good sign.
I knew what that was. I was trying to read what he was responding yes to.
Well, if a player in a poor situation is just typing yes, yes, that's always a good sign. So
true.
And here we are back in the game, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Harvest account that I want to emphasize once again, because StarTaleQ is now ahead with 59 to 51, and he also has the mules. So the drop attack that he used earlier sure did some damage.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so he's upgrading the reactor for his ghosts to get extra energy at one of his Ghost Academies. The other one is idle right now, so I'm not... Maybe it was a mistake after all to make 2 Ghost Academies.
We have now the tech to Colossi. He already has the Twilight count, so he can use +2/+2 upgrades. And they are about to finish. The Colossi attack is a little bit late. There's another drop attempt by Bomber, and I actually want to see if he is going to get... He doesn't have Blink yet, does he?
He did. He already used it. It's on cooldown. And, oh no, the Medivacs, he blinked underneath, is going to pick off those Medivacs. Beautiful, beautiful play by Sage. He is going to take some losses, but managed to kill several units while they're still in the Medivacs. Actually, he took a lot of losses there. That was actually a lot more than I thought after having picked off half the units inside the Medivacs.
Yeah, and sorry for the call. I didn't see a Blink earlier. I was watching the other stream and didn't see the first Blink that he used. So he tried to Blink beneath the Medivacs, actually took out one of them, but Molten, you're perfectly right. He lost a lot of Stalkers because Bomber was just able to unload a lot of those units just in time to face his opponent. And now we have +3/+3 for Sage, while Bomber is also getting the +3 attack upgrade, but not his +2 armor.
Yeah, he's still on +1 armor. So, actually, I think he's probably on 1 engineering bay, is why we're seeing him just go very skimpy.
No, he's on 2.
No, he has 2 engineering bays. Never mind. I don't know why then. But yeah, we do see this Colossus switch going on. Basically, Sage is getting a lot of everything right now. He's getting Colossus, he's getting Thermal Lance, he's also getting Charged though. He's also getting 3/3.
Sage is by now ahead in Harvester supply, as he was building 3 probes at a time for quite a while now. And the problem for him is that Extended Thermal Lance is not finished yet, neither is Charge, nor are the +3/+3 upgrades. And Bomber is getting aggressive now.
I want to point out again, though, Sage getting supply blocked, stopping himself, and while he's supply blocked, he just built 5 pylons at once. That's how supply blocked he was. And Bomber gets a supply lead in the meantime. Oh, nice. Picks off a couple.
What was that?
Vikings and gets away.
You should not lose that many Vikings without dealing any damage at all to your opponent. So Bomber not paying attention. Here comes the force field. The fine engages. Extended thermal lens is done. The Colossi are doing a lot of damage. And most of the Vikings are already gone. Only 3 left. Nice force field trapping everything. Oh,
now that the Colossus are done, though, the bio units are just going to have their way with these Protoss.
Exactly.
Stalkers.
Once again, the Mana Mules.
The Mana Mule dropping again as Bomber charges into the natural expansion. He's 50 supply ahead. Colossus comes out just in the nick of time, but he's slaughtering probes as they're forced to be the meat shield since there are no more Zealots. And Bomber does get forced back. Might have been a little bit overzealous there without any Vikings left. That Colossus popping out.
The upgrades are done for Sage, but it is too late. Bomber attacks at a timing where he is able to fight against 2 upgraded units. The Colossi get picked off. Very well done by Bomber. Sage with a nice effort, but in the end, his failed attack just put him behind by quite a bit, and Bomber is able to capitalize on it.
And Bomber, you can tell, is going for the kill right now. If you look at the minimap, his blue units are just streaming across the map. He is not going to hold back. He is going for the kill here. He's got a Viking out now. He actually should probably wait for a few Vikings so he can actually kill those Colossus because they were doing a ton of damage. If that one Colossus hadn't popped out, we would have seen Sage have to GG right there.
Sage has rebuilt a nice army. He has a lot of sentries still alive. The first Colossus is already in the army back again, and we have now finally charge being done. So StarTale Bomber should not be, well, you shouldn't really think about his next attack. He needs to be careful. He has not won the game just yet. He called the Mana Mules, but Sage refused to yield and has by now quite a decent army. Only 58 army supply though against 115. You can also see at the total supply that Bomber is just so far ahead.
He's 50 ahead right now. Force fields go down to try and block that army from stemming in. He's engaging a nice point here, but the Colossus just have nothing to do against these +2 weapon upgrade Vikings, hunting them down. The last Colossus, the last hope of NSHoSeo Sage goes down, and the Bio Army stims in for the kill. Archons cannot save you now. It is too late, and we're going to see GG any moment now. The Mana Mules coming down. The probes are going to slaughter themselves first. There's the GG, and Bomber takes 3 games in a row for StarTale, and his team has got to be happy about that. They get on their feet to congratulate him as he comes out. Oh, he's going to do a ceremony. Oh, calling out Jokji, I think. Saying, bring it. Actually, who was that he was talking to? I didn't see. I think it was Jokji, but I'm not sure.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Very well done by Bomber.
StarTale ace.
Sage kind of
giving a cry of victory there. He's like, yeah. Wow.
Sage played so well in the early stage of the game, but later he just crumbled. I really would love to get a statement of Sage what exactly happened to the hotkeys, if that influenced the outcome of the game, or if it was just something that he happened to realize before it actually mattered.
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is maybe if he had like custom control group hotkeys and he thought he had hotkeys as immortals to 3 and he tried to back them up and they didn't move, or I don't know, something like that is the only thing I can think of that how hotkeys would have affected that battle. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but it's also interesting that he didn't notice that until
after the fight,
20 minutes into the game or something like that.
After the first big engagement.
So,
and that was the first time when, for example, sentries mattered. Before that, we only had engagements without sentry. Might be the reason. I have no idea. It might just be something that he realized later when it didn't matter at all. Like, for example, the upgrades for some building hotkeys, whatever. We have to get a statement of it at some point if you want to.
Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to. We'll try and get that for you, but point is, Bomber is on a tear right now. He is up 3 games, and NSHoSeo has yet to take a single game off of him. He is completely owning face. You know, I was saying before, I was like, well, Bomber from 4 or 5 months ago, I would expect him to maybe all kill NSHoSeo, but he's actually on his way to doing it now. Maybe Bomber is back, ladies and gentlemen. We're seeing him in top form today, playing extremely well. Still making a couple of mistakes here and there, but taking advantage of every mistake his opponents make.
We'll see the next player for NSHoSeo very, very soon. And yeah, I'm excited if the challenge of Bomber will be answered. If Jagji is stepping up onto the platform in order to face Bomber in the Terran versus Terran. Because who else is there? We have Sun available, but still...
I don't know who else there is.
San, Tacita.
And I think that's San. That is San indeed. So that's who they're bringing out, is San, formerly San Zenith, as we know him from seasons past. San, another Protoss player coming off the bench to try and deal with Bomber.
That was Jagji, just looking at the camera.
Still saving Jagji for last, I guess.
Once again, this is the best of 9, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
5 map wins win you the whole match.
Yep. Now, San is a pretty good choice. He has pretty good, well, he has very good, actually, you would say, PVT. It's his best matchup. So, you know, if you gotta send anyone out, he's a good one to send. I mean, you know, Bomber, his TVP is very good too, so it's hard to say, but we're gonna find out in about 5 minutes if San can do better than his teammates have. Don't go anywhere. We can have another epic PVT coming up for you here at the GSL Team League.